Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Mr. No Sleep here from Old School RuneScape, and today I bring you loot from 100 Tombs of Amascut normal mode. Starting at a kill count of 21, we will be ending this video with a kill count of 121. And I'm not gonna lie, the first raids were a little rough, even only being scaled to level 150. I was still struggling to finish in under 40 minutes, but fear not. This whole video, the invocations will just get higher and higher, and the raids will just become quicker and quicker. After all, practice makes perfect, so let's hope by the end of the video I'll have become good enough to try and complete in the near future 100 expert raids. But for now, before our 100 normals begin, I definitely have to fix up this crystal, so I spent a little bit of money on 1500 crystal shards just to make sure that all my crystal would be full again. Pretty good investment. It's the first time I've had to fix my crystal in close to a year, so yeah, I really enjoy using it, and it's much more affordable if you can't afford a twisted bow, so it's something to keep in mind. Now, we did receive a drop at the very beginning there, the Jewel of the Sun, but that's not really what I was looking for. I'm still yet to get the upgraded rune pouch. I was 23 raids in, and it finally happened. That, along with some decent other loot, was very exciting because now my rune pouch can hold 4 runes instead of 3, and that will help out a lot for Tombs of Amascut. Before we continue on with the grind today, though, to 100 TOA, we do have some quick words from our incredible sponsor today, Boot.dev. Boot.dev is building the smartest way to master backend development by tackling the hardest problem with e-learning: boredom. Their platform uses tactics learned from modern game design to push ambitious students towards their goal, a career in backend development. Through hands-on lessons that balance theory with practice and an active Discord community, students are prepared to tackle technical interviews and forge a successful programming career. The folks at Boot.dev believe the smartest way to learn to code is to make sure you're never bored. You will earn XP, levels, achievements, and complete quests to get a top spot on the global leaderboard. If that's not related to RuneScape, I don't know what is. The platform, though, is designed to get you writing a ton of code, because getting your hands on the keyboard and shipping projects is the only way to really learn. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description box and use my code MrNoSleep to get 25% off your first payment for Boot.dev. That is 25% off your first month or your first year, depending on the subscription that you choose. And a huge thank you to Boot.dev for sponsoring today's video. Alright, well, let's go ahead and create that new rune pouch. Been waiting a very long time for this, so let's go ahead and use the thread with the needle on the rune pouch to change that iconic red rune pouch into a divine rune pouch. And following that, we do have a new personal best of 35 minutes, as well as a nice hard combat task completed for a grand total of about 70k in loot. I really like seeing the new personal best continue to come up. We actually accomplished a master combat task there, Tomb Looter, for 5 points. It's always nice seeing the speeds get better and better over time. Just happy to see that most of these raids are below the 40-minute mark. Some of them are over, you know, a little bit of unnecessary AFKing during the raid in the beginning, but I was trying to take this a little bit more seriously as time went on. I will say I think I improved slightly since the release of my loot from 10 hours of TOA. I never really went back after I did that video, so I did read a lot of the comments before I started this one, and I took some things into account. But there's a perfect het that was one of probably 3 that I managed to get out of this loot from 100. And now that I've reached the 10 kill count mark from 21 to 31, I figure it's time to show you guys how I go about doing a full Tombs of Amascut raid. I'll be fast forwarding a lot of this, but I'll try to explain to the best of my ability at the same time. Alright, so here we go. The scaled raid here is at level 215, so it's a big difference from 150, but it's not quite 300 or anything like that. But there's all my gear and in my inventory. The only thing that I actually bring now that I don't have in this setup is a stamina potion. For a while I banked it, but now I'm back to bringing it. Either way, though, we start with Krondis, and I try my very best not to take any damage on this part here, where you just have to make sure the palm is at 200 health. So I simply avoid all of the spikes and the green that damages you, and I make sure that crocodile stays frozen, and I water the plant to 200. Alright, once that's complete, I put on my max strength gear, I imbue heart, as well as range pot and super combat Piety on, and then I unleash all my specs on Zback. Once all my specs are gone, I go ahead and put on the max range setup. In this inventory, I also brought an archering switch, but I decided not to do that anymore because it really wasn't helping me too much. For some strange reason, it seemed like I did better without it, but I don't know why that was. But either way, I continue to fight Z-back. I make sure to pray accordingly, and all the times where he throws out jugs, I just make sure I smash them accordingly, especially if there's rocks involved and you have to avoid his special attack. I try my very best not to sip any brews here. Usually I just go through 2 sips of Sandfew or Super Restore, and then once I finish up, you know, I get full health and full prayer again, so that's awesome. And if you have any advice on how to make this room easier or faster, feel free to comment below. I would appreciate it. Alright, so after that room, I go on to the Path of Het, and I go ahead and get my pickaxe out, and luckily this TOA plugin that I installed about halfway through the video makes it so that it shows where to place the mirrors and how to direct them. So other than avoiding damage here, this room is really easy for me. Most of the time it always takes 2 attempts to finish it, but sometimes it takes 1, very rarely though. Alright, then I begin the Akka fight, starting with magic and then slowly just, you know, switching my prayers and my attack styles to whatever he is not praying, and then I kill all of his minions slowly but surely. And really, I mean, I do take decent amount of damage during this fight. This happened to take a lot longer than it usually does. It just wasn't hitting that well. But overall, it's the end part that kills me the most, or I at least have the most trouble with, just avoiding all these white bubbles that spawn. This was actually a really good example, except at the very end. But yeah, I'd say that kills me most of the time. It's just this room, and then after I finish this room, I collect my bundle from the supply ghost, and I always choose life first, and this supplies me with everything for the rest of the raid. Alright, now we move on to the Path of Scabrous, which I do have the plugin for all the puzzles to be solved for me, so that's awesome. I quickly complete this room, and other than not bringing a stamina potion for a few of these raids, that's the only downside really in this clip. Other than that, I think I did it correctly. And then I move on to the fight with Kefri. I just use a Fang here, just like at most bosses. I really just predominantly use the Fang special attack and just it in general as my main weapon. I did try out the Karis here, but it didn't really work too well. It actually extended this kill, so maybe that's only good for certain level raids. But since I was just peaking at 215 this whole video, that's what I went from. 150 to 215 was my best. This was just my method. I did have an invocation unlocked later on that increased my raid where an extra minion did spawn, but he wasn't too hard to kill, and I really don't struggle too hard in this room. I almost never have to take any brews to sip or anything like that. I just kill all the minions quickly, and then I get heals with my Blood Fury, but I'm not sure if that's worth bringing over a Torture. You guys make sure to let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'm not sure if like a Bando's Godsword or a Warhammer works well here, just for, you know, a scale 215 raid. But overall, this room is really easy. You just have to avoid falling objects that he throws at you every hit, and that's really it. So it's pretty laid back room. Just wish I could get it done a little faster. Alright, in our final room, the Path of Apamakin. So I go ahead and grab my hammer as well as the liquid that you need for the floors. Kill all the monkeys according to their color. That determines what combat style you use on them. Always try to freeze that poison monkey that spreads all that nastiness around. And other than this, I just prioritize the Babu Shaman. That way that he doesn't spawn more monkeys for me to kill. And that's about it. Blood Barrage comes in handy here a lot. This was actually a bad example. This room took forever, but usually it's a lot faster. So yeah, I really like this room. This is my favorite of all the rooms. Just because Baba is a very safe boss for me. I've only died at him probably the least amount of times compared to all the other bosses. And for him, I just simply use my Fang, and whenever the boulders come out for that those 2 times during the fight, I just simply hit the right boulder, the darkest one, and I use range to do that, and then it's just back to melee for Baba. Avoid all the falling objects, stand next to the pillar, of course, and try not to die. He does eventually damage me to the point where usually at the very end of the fight, if I'm not getting enough heals from my Blood Fury, I'll use a few brew sips. But the second he dies, I put on my blowpipe, my range gear, and go ahead and get ready to collect my second pack from the spirit. This helpful spirit, it really is helpful, you know, getting the life pack at the beginning and then the power pack at the end for the smelling salt as well as the adrenaline. That'll come in handy for the warden fight when it comes to speccing out the warden, as well as just having all of your stats boosted to 123. Alright, so at this point, I just go ahead and rush on in, just try not to waste any time here. This was the very last raid of the video, which you guys will see the loot from this, you know, at the end of the video. But either way, I go ahead and click on the smelling salts, and I just start attacking the obelisk and wait for it to die. Sometimes it takes forever to kill this thing, sometimes not so much. This was an example of a little bit longer than usual, but when it does damage me, I just brew up and I just go on to fight the warden himself, start specking out the ball whenever that appears, and really just try to avoid the throwing skulls as well as the flashing red lights. This was a bad example where I took a lot of damage, and honestly it's just random. Sometimes I do pretty good here, but the warden, you know, he hits through prayer quite often, and you really got to be attentive to your HP. I was sitting at 16 here, which is just the dumbest thing ever, even though I was already done with the fight. I always try to stay very high HP here so that way I don't die, because if you die at this stage, it hurts a lot. It's not fun to waste 30 minutes on nothing. But either way, we finish that up, and then it's the final phase where we just range the warden, simply put on that crystal. Again, the archer ring was brought for a few of these raids, and I know brought a light bearer switch, but I just don't like the archer ring here. It doesn't do enough justice, and so I banked it. But other than that, I just avoid all of the hits with the right prayers, step on the right tiles as I'm in the fight, kill all the spawning red skulls when they appear with the dragon dagger, and in the very end he has 300 health left, and you just have to avoid everything that's falling down, all those dark spots. Just make sure you're not standing on them and try to stay high HP, and that's about it. All right, well, that is officially how I go about doing my raids, as we are just slowly but surely getting the kill here. By the way, happy Halloween, everyone. Yeah, all right. And again, if you have any advice on how I can get better at raids, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. I just wanted to show you guys how I go about doing my raids at this current point in time. That raid that you just saw me do there in voiceover, that was about a 30-minute raid. So, you know, 30 minutes, that's my best time. 2:15, that's the highest I can get to now. And I'm a little worried. I mean, it's honestly challenging, even at 2:15. I know some people out there are probably very cringing right now looking at my 2:15s and thinking that that's no challenge at all. Some people out there doing 500s, 900s, you know, I get it. There's a lot of TOA experts out there, but I don't know if I'm ready to become one, even after this video. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna try, as we are just continuing to not receive a purple, but we did get a perfect Krondis though, so that's pretty nice. A little combat task there. So yeah, if you guys have any tips for me for expert mode, invocations to turn on, things to do, I was thinking maybe I make the raid so that it goes up to 40 minutes, and then I turn a bunch of invocations on so that, you know, it may be a lot more difficult, right? But I'll have 40 minutes to complete it. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards as it goes for attempting experts, but I just don't know, guys. This is pretty tough for me. You know, I did see a comment that it kind of made me smile, and it also made me a little disturbed the other day, and I had like 80 thumbs up on one of my most recent videos, and it said, out of all the content creators, Mr. No Sleep is the worst PVMer. And I thought about it. I was like, wow, you know, I think he's right. I think he's got a point. But I do want to say that I think I'm getting better, guys. You know, we're starting with TOA normal modes. Hopefully we'll move on to experts, complete that. Once we get that done, we can maybe start attempting the Inferno. I was supposed to attempt that anyway recently this year, but I just never got to it because I don't know. I don't feel confident enough yet. But I'll let you guys know right now, it's a journey, and I'm glad you guys are along with me for it, because it's going to be a lot of PVMing and a lot of improving, hopefully. And I was at this point in the video, close to 48 raids completed at 150, that I was now wanting to go up to 160 and even 170. Like I mentioned before, you know, I did peak at 215, but as I got more and more confident, you know, we completed 48 raids at 150, and then we managed to complete a couple dozen at 170, and slowly but surely I was, you know, getting those invocations up all the way up until 215. I believe I made Baba's boulders get thrown out faster. I limited the raid time to 35 minutes instead of, I think it was like, I don't know, 50 minutes before, whatever it was. It's now down to 35 minutes. Unfortunately, 2 of my raids that were attempted after I set that 35-minute timer were completed over the timer. So, you know, 35 minutes sometimes wasn't enough time for me to complete the raid. But along with this and other invocations, you know, the peak was 215, and I am curious to see just how challenging 300 is compared to that. And I'm also curious if I'm ever going to get a purple, because, you know, I've spent like, you know, you say 32 minutes, 34 minutes of raid here. It's probably like 55 hours is how long this video took. And that includes completed raids. That doesn't include all the times that I died, as well as all the elite clue scrolls that I did. So hopefully we make this worthwhile as these invocations are turned on and as these tombs are completed. I really want to see a purple. I think the biggest downside with the purples in general is that there's only so many that are worth a lot of money, and when I say so many, I mean specifically one. The Tumakin has dropped a lot in price lately, but it's at 1.4 bill right now, something crazy like that. And then you have the Lightbearer, which is like 2 mil, the Fang, which is like 25 mil. Missouri pieces are only so much too. I think it's like, what, 50 mil for one, 40 mil for the other. And then you have the Eldonus Ward, which is like 2 mil. So if we get any of those items, I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it. You know, I love seeing that purple, that new collection log. But it's not, you know, it's not going to change my bank. It's not going to make a huge difference. It might not even make this video 2 mil an hour at the end of the day. So we really want to see that Tumakin. That's our big ticket item. But if you think about it, you know, if you were to go do 100 solo chambers, you know, you have the opportunity to get a lot more items that are worth much more than the items you can expect at TOA. But here we are at TOA, not COX, and we are ready to get our purple. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 2.5% at a unique. That's our chance to receive one, and there is the purple glow I've been waiting for. This was a scaled 200 raid, one of my first of the video, and I completed it at 31 minutes 30 seconds. This was number 62 out of 100. Good luck. Here we go. What are we gonna get? The moment is here. Could be 1.4 bill. Could be 2 mil. Could be a pet, I think, right? You can get the pet. Anyway, oh, we got the Fang. Yeah, it's not a, I mean, it's, I don't know. I'll take it, right? It's not a Lightbearer, but it's not a Tumakin. 25.7 mil. I think it's down to like 23 now. But hey, it's a purple, and that's all I wanted. So I got my very first purple, the Fang himself. I'll definitely keep him. I mean, I already had one, but now I have two. So yeah, we look at the collection log there. We got all the gems. We got the thread, 11 treasure chests, and one purple so far. Hopefully another one to be obtained. You know, that was like, what, 62? We have 48 raids left to go. And again, if you guys have any advice for me regarding expert TOA, make sure to leave it in the comment section below. I don't respond to many comments, but I do read every single one of them, which actually leads me to a question. It is Halloween, so for those of you who are still watching the video, by the way, huge thank you to you. You know, 17 minutes, you're incredible. Thank you. I do have a question for you. What was your scariest ever RuneScape experience? Leave it in the comments section below, and I'll make sure to heart the scariest one that I read. You know, I could give you guys some crazy stories about that. I remember one time I got hacked on my birthday as a kid. That was a nightmare. Some guy like turned on my web. Man, it was a night. I don't even want to talk about it. But yeah, a lot of scary stuff. Got lured a few times. I don't know. Why are we rambling? What are we even talking about? Let's finish out this video. All right, starting at kill count 21 and ending at 121. I actually did 9 extra ones, by the way. 130 KC now, just because I wanted that second purple, you know? Still never got it, though. Guess we have to be pleased with our normal drops as well as finally unlocking that rune pouch. And hey, we got a second one, too, in case we lose it, which I probably will. So let's go ahead and price check all of the normal drops first. Then we're going to go ahead and open up all of our treasure chests, and we'll add that onto the price check. And then you can just simply look at the Fang as 25 mil extra. So there we have rounded up 22 mil in normal drops from 100 normal TOAs. That's every item accounted for. Now we're going to go ahead and open up our 14 golden treasure chests. It actually gave me a lot of runes. I was very surprised. You'll definitely get all your runes back if you come to TOA and use some blood and ice barrage. 5.4 mil from all the runes. It's really nice from you know, just normal drops. And if you add in the price of the Fang, which is now down to 23.7 mil, it looks like we made 51.1 mil from 100 normal TOA chests. Averaging 32 to 34 minutes a raid. This took about minimum 55 hours to complete, so almost 1 mil profit an hour. Could have been more, could have been less, depending on, you know, what rare I would receive. 1.4 bill is the highest valued item, and, you know, 2 mil is the cheapest. So it's really just all luck here at TOA. You scale that rate higher, you make it more difficult, your odds of making more money will go up. You do it the way I do it, you'll be chasing billions forever, but isn't that what this channel's all about? All right, so let's go ahead and open up our 8 Elite Clue Scrolls. Ah, yes, never did receive the Tumakin, but now it's time to receive a mega rare third age item so that I can name this video I made 1 bill doing TOA. People will think I got the Tumakin. Little will they know I got a third age item from an elite that I got at the Tumakin. I don't know, whatever. So anyway, you're getting a lot of masters from these elites. We'll definitely open those up after we finish up this bunch of caskets. maskets. But yeah, a lot of rune items, a lot of noted planks. I think the biggest item I got was Sagacious Spectacles, which was 500k. It might have been 300k. The teleports were probably more. But either way, we did all the elite clues, made about 1.6 mil. And from the 2 master clues, this should bring us up to 340 masters overall. Did receive roughly 500k. So not too bad. It is extra, you know, take care of a little bit of supply cost here and there. And now just to show you guys the loot tracker for this video, there's the 2 masters, there's the 8 elites, all the treasure chests, as well as 100 clean looking tombs of a masket, scaled from 150 to 215. Not a bad haul, I'll be honest. I was hoping for more, but I could have been granted with a lot less. And just to show you guys that I did 9 more raids after this video post-production, just in hopes of getting that purple. No luck yet, but that just means I'm due for a second purple soon, so that's alright with me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the channel further by becoming a channel member, you can now access it at $4.99 a month. You do get a cool badge next to your name. And a big thank you to all the channel members, with a special shout out to Angelzblood, DeceptionZ, xXzoticx. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, happy Halloween, stay safe out there, and I'll be back eventually with something new for you. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. No Sleep out.